Rolling. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the last class of Science of Mind 102 at Center for Spiritual Living. It is February 2019, where we are, wherever you are, it's here and now. So take a deep breath. We always begin in treatment. And what I know is that there is one power, one presence, one love, one life, one light, one creative force, one self-existent cause, one absolute. And out of that oneness, all of creation came, and yet it did not deplete the oneness. The oneness is still one, eternal, absolute. But everything that is made out of spirit. It's made out of God's stuff. And so we know that each one of us is a spiritual being made out of the divine, informed, individualized as us. We know that we and spirit are one, that all of the power of creation is at the point of our words and our thoughts right here and right now. And so we think consciously and we speak consciously, calling forth into form good blessings, love, laughter, prosperity, health, wholeness of all kinds. And we live the God life that we were always meant to live. And I know that each one of us gets everything that we need to get out of this class. And we use these teachings to create lives that get better and better and better and better. And so with great gratitude for all that we have learned in this first half of the year, and all that is left for us to learn, I release this treatment into the mind of God, the body of God, and the heart of God, knowing that it is all God, as together we say, and so it is. Wonderful. So you read the law of attraction last week. Do you have any comments? Do you have any questions? Wasn't that a fantastic chapter? It's a great chapter.
I've seen the film.
You saw The Secret. Yes. Well, there's a lot of good stuff in The Secret.
Yes.
What did you get out of the chapter?
On page 297, when it said, it's talking about attracting friends, it said, we must begin to image ideal relationships, be they social or otherwise, to sense and feel the presence of friends, to enjoy them in our mentalities, not as an illusion, but as a reality, not as a dream, but as an experience, to declare that their presence is now here. But we must never look to see if they are here, because this would imply doubt and would neutralize our word. And I definitely, the Orpheus and Eurydice, like, popped in my head for that, where he went down to Hades to get her back and was told, all right, go all the way back up as long as you don't turn around to make sure she's there. And so I was like, oh, that's exactly, I love finding the little parallels.
When people come up to me and say, oh, you treated for this and it hasn't demonstrated, I go, yes, it has.
No.
Yes, it has, because to say it hasn't is negating your treatment. If you do a treatment for a new car and go look out the window and go, darn, it's not there, then you just screwed up the whole treatment. You've got to be a little schizophrenic and go around and go, see my new car? Isn't it beautiful? I love it. It's just the right color, just the right brand. It makes me feel great, and here it is. And if you do that, a car will appear. Yeah. Who else got something out of the law of attraction? David Mark.
I'd like to comment on responsibility. There are really are several responsibilities, but the point that Ernest is pointing out here is that we're not responsible for the action of the law, how and when and where the demonstration will take place. Our responsibility is to set the law in motion and then let the law work. But there's another responsibility, and that's the responsibility of accepting the results of the demonstration. And that means that, or I think, well, actually he says what goes along with it, along with the demonstration. And for instance, we purchased a house and we knew that it needed some renovation and everything. And that means that when we found out that it needed a new roof, which we hadn't anticipated and really didn't want to do, that's part of the demonstration, because we did buy the house knowing that it needed reservation. And it's how you accept that really overall influences the demonstration. Because if, like, all of a sudden it's hard or a little bit of work, you can like neutralize and stop the demonstration right there.
Sure, if you go into blame and resentment and
Yeah.
victimization, that's your new treatment. Instead of, look at this great house we got, oh yeah, it needs a new roof, we turn into, things have been taken from me, I'm not being supported by life, and then the universe manifests that.
Yeah. And then you find out that all of a sudden the new roof brings with it a lot of unexpected benefits.
Yeah, good for
So-
you, good for you. We have two of our members had a tree fall over into their house and through their roof and through the floor of the upper story. And they've been getting all of that repaired, and they same thing, they're working on their head, because they said, well, insurance is paying for everything. We're getting all brand new hardwood floors in the house. We've got all of these upgrades because of this. We're just living with a hole in our roof for a while. So it's the same thing. If you're treating that you're always supported, that everything works out for your best, that you've got everything that you need or desire, and it comes with a little bit of things, the surprises, then you've got to be able to know, I live in an abundant universe where there's more than enough for all. Of course I can handle this. It wouldn't have come into my consciousness if I couldn't handle it. Thank you, David. How about, does it talk also about responsibility in there for being mindful and vigilant?
Actually, there's a lot of, I don't know, I guess, build responsibility in this chapter.
Mm-hmm.
In the subjectification of what it is that you want through your thought and action.
Mm-hmm.
And not until it's subjectified can the creative law really work on it. And in essence, is what that is that's just turning it into real or genuine belief once it becomes subjectified.
Right.
So that it automatically and spontaneously influences how you think and act and respond to various situations.
I love the beginning of the chapter that says, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme.
No.
This gives you the responsibility to create whatever you want, but you have to embody it. And oftentimes, that takes a lot of work, looking at hidden beliefs and limited thoughts, and turning that around. But we were talking about having a second thought. If your first thought is not going to create what you want, it's important to get to work thinking a second thought.
Yeah.
That is what you're gonna want. Thank you, David. This is one of my favorite chapters.
Yeah.
I really liked where it's on page 301. So much in here, you know, it's like I just like the way he's saying it. But he says like, if one could take a picture of his objective circumstances and a picture of his subjective mentality, he would find them to be identical.
Right.
For one is the cause of the other, one is the image, and the other is the reflection of that image. And I'm like,
And you are right where
so
you
well
belong.
said, so well said.
Well, I've said to people, you know, well, that's going on in your consciousness, and they go, I don't know what's going on in my consciousness. Well, just look around your life. How are you doing? How's your body doing? How are your relationships doing? How's your money doing? How's your attitude doing? Jane.
I love the thought of seeing the good in people, and it's such a relief to do that, rather than to be miffed at them or frightened of them or angry at them or anything. But if you see them as good people, you know, it's very.
Boy, if I could only have a recording of this for Jane 10 years ago, to see where you're gonna be. Isn't that wonderful to be able to live like that?
Yeah.
To see the good in people and really have this genuine smile and happy face?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thrilled, because I've spent the other I've spent a lot of time on the other side of the fence. So, no, I'm still working on how do I see the good in my father? I'm still sort of miffed at that, because I still have hurting, things that he hurt, that, like my neck and stuff like that. And so that keeps reminding me where it came from, but.
What demons he must have had to do that to you as a child?
You know,
You know, how tormented must he have been? How unhappy must he have been to take it out on you?
and it wasn't anger, it was the desire to mold me into what he wanted me to be. And so
Pretty
therefore,
violently.
wasn't supposed to have my own thoughts or anything.
Yeah.
I was supposed to only have his thoughts.
But now you get to have your own thoughts.
Yeah.
And just to see the good in everybody.
I'm working on that.
Yay, yay, yay. Who else? For me, this is one of those chapters I can read over and over and over again. Ophia.
I just keep coming back to, refining in myself the difference between, where it says like on 301, we must be specific in what we do, while at the same time never outlining how it shall be done.
Right, that's what David Mark was talking about.
Like honing and.
Because when you get to, I need more money and it's gotta come by this house closing on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I gotta have that commission check so that I can do what I need to do, then you're at what Troward calls secondary causation.
Mhm.
You remember that?
Yeah, you need this in order for this. but-
Yeah, you need this in order for this, and you don't. All you need to know is that you have everything that you want, that all of your bills are paid, that money flows easily and freely in your life, and it may be that that house closes, but that house will close, in my opinion, more likely with an attitude of, everything's working out great, I always have more than enough, life supports me, than, oh my God, I gotta have that close on Tuesday so that I can get that check and get it to the bank before all hell breaks loose. So again, it's the attitude that we have about things setting those causes in motion. Yeah. Anybody else? Sandy?
There was one little part on page 306 where it talks about the attitude. If everyday things are a little better, a little happier, a little joyous, that we're going in the right direction.
That has helped me a lot. Well, I don't have my $1 billion yet. No, today is better than yesterday, and this year is better than last year. Everything's going fine. Well, I won't be okay until I have this. No, that's the flaw. I am okay right now. I'm perfect, whole, and complete right now, and I don't need that to tell me that I'm perfect, whole, and complete. And as long as I know that I'm perfect, whole, and complete inside of myself, everything in my life is going to reflect that. Instead of going around going, oh, I need this, and I need this, and I need this. Then you live a life in need and you end up losing everything. RJ?
Well, I don't want to get off the topic here, but I'm just thinking about all these laws we're reading about. We addressed it last week. We talked about the law of cause and effect, the law of correspondence, the law of attraction. And
Law of mental equivalence, the law of reflection.
And we said basically they're all the same law, and I'm trying to remember how we worded it last week. As it's not like second cause, but what is the primary law of which all these
Oneness.
law of oneness?
Oneness.
All is one.
That everything is
Almost,
one.
when we talk about spirit, we're saying, love's an attribute of spirit, wisdom's an attribute of spirit, life's an attribute of spirit. I guess each one of these causes, or each one of these laws is almost an attribute of that primary law.
It's just using language as a way to try to describe it.
Yeah.
How one infinite absolute energy, whatever that is, somehow is what we are. It has to be what we are, and we have to be it, which means we command the power of creation within ourselves through our thoughts, our words, our deeds. And because of this oneness, then we are manifesting our lives the same way that the universe gets manifested. Our world is being manifest. And you can call it, anything you want, as long as you get that idea that there's only one, that we are, how did he put it? We are individualized expressions of spirit. We are not individuations. and it's the whole verb noun thing. It's like the river is really rivering. It's a verb. The river rivers. It's rivering. And spirit expresses it experiences. It doesn't even express itself, because an expression is a noun. Spirit experiences itself as us. We are the verb of the divine in form, not the noun. And people get hung up because when I'm an individuation of the divine, I'm a thing, I'm separate, I'm a noun. And there is me and spirit. Spirit is individual, is an individuation as me. I am I'm a manifestation of the divine. I'm a expression. A lot of people say I'm an expression of spirit. We're not an expression of spirit. We are spirit's experience as itself, as us. David Mark.
Distinct without difference.
Right.
What'd you say? What?
Distinct without difference.
The state without?
Distinct.
Oh,
Distinct.
thank you. Okay, the state without.
You know, one doesn't mean sameness. Oneness doesn't mean sameness. We're all individualized. We're distinct. We're different. But we are all the same, all at the same time. And this is a little crazy kind of thought, because for all intents and purposes, I'm here and you're there. And metaphysics says, no, I'm not here and you're not there. We are all one. We are like the little, if you were a kid, you took a lamp bulb and put it in a shoebox and poked holes around the shoebox, and then turned the light on in a dark room. You saw all of the rays come out of the box. All of those rays were still the same light from the one bulb. That's how we are. You can't separate yourself from spirit or everything else. You can't have a distinction. You just can't do that. And we want to, because we want to say, well, here I am, and here my life is, and I want to learn how to manipulate these experiences in my life so that I feel better. No. One of Ernest's whole thing about healing and spiritual mind treatment is that you go inside of yourself and know that oneness of spirit, and you stay with that until you feel it. And by now, with your treatment work, you should be feeling it. You should be getting some sense of connectedness, of love, of joy in your treatment work. Maybe not in class where you've got somebody listening to you, but for me, my prime time is 3 o'clock in the morning when I wake up. It's like, great, I've got time to meditate and do treatment work now. So wherever you do it, whenever you do it, there should be a sense of just maybe that hole that's filled, that sense of being home, that sense of connection and oneness. I mean, those are just the words that I have to describe it, but you should be having an experience of this. And Ernest says that your job is to go to that place. And when you're in that place, you can't see disease and poverty and lack and heartache. You can't see it, because all you're seeing, it's like you're not having the faith in God, you're having the faith of God. What is that?
Did you hit your microphone?
I don't think so. I don't hear. Faith of God.
It's a loose
So-
connection somewhere, right?
So when you're in that space and you, let's say you're treating for yourself, then you're not dealing with, oh my gosh, I'm so worried about this and this problem, I've got to fix it. You're not there. You're simply basking in that sense of oneness, of all as well, of connectedness. And then the experiences are second to that. That really your prime goal is to go around with an awareness of the presence of the divine in everything that you do, everything that you say, and every thought that you think. And if you do that, wonderful things will show up in your life without you having to outline how those things are supposed to happen or what they even are, because from our thoughts of what the best thing is, we are coming from a limited view, and if we just open up to all of the good and the abundance and love and joy that is, then things can show up that we've never even thought could happen. So we open up to that, what Ernest would call the greater good. Ophia.
Well, we didn't get to do treatment demonstrations today, but
I'm going to, we just kind of
Okay.
got rolling.
there was I've been treating for myself my affirmation from foundations classes. I breathe deeply in grace, and
Turn it down.
a lot of I've had breathing deep is a very hard thing for me my whole life to remind myself of. So the more I've been doing that, I had a lot of substituting last week, which was great. And Friday I actually had middle school kids, and they asked if they could stay through lunch to keep working on a diorama. And I checked with everyone, they said it was okay. So they were staying there and they were talking, and they started on the topic of consciousness and what happens when we die. And
Cool.
so I tried to stay out, I'm just, observing, but this one, girl was, just immediately to nothing, just, we disintegrate into nothing, there's nothingness, it's darkness, and I just couldn't, and everyone was getting down, I could see them, and I was just like, I couldn't resist, so I was just like, what if, and said, what if we're all connected? What if, it's space-time isn't linear, and this is all us, one character playing, its own little story that we all wanted to come up with. What if it's like a video game where we all together wrote the coding, but now our only access to it is through our remote controllers? And like the kids just like, one was like, what? Like, and it was just a really cool experience that if I had not been focusing on staying in that connection, that oneness, and like, I've just been working really hard to always focus on any time I interact with any kind of life, it is me, it is God, it is all of us, it's our dream,
Yes.
and so it's more and more of those opportunities are coming up. I'm not feeling tired, I'm just excited about stuff. And
Good,
yeah,
good. Wonderful. You got me, Stephen? Testing, we're good? One of the things that in my 40 years of this teaching, people come and they want to know what the trick is, what the key is, what the piece of the puzzle is. And really, it's not a 5-step spiritual mind treatment. It's not an affirmation. It's not learning how to create money or friendships or things like that. It's all about getting to where you can hang out in that awareness of the presence of spirit right here and right now. That is the whole shebang. You want to know what the trick is? That's the trick. To be able to stay in that awareness that no matter what the appearance is, I know that I, as a powerful creative spiritual being, am manifesting my experience right now, and so I choose to manifest love and light and life and joy and peace and harmony, and I choose to be in that space and to feel it and to see it and to acknowledge it in everybody and to claim it as my own, and then my life will demonstrate not only love and light and peace and joy and harmony and all of those other great things, but it'll show up as stuff and money and contracts closing and new roofs and people showing up and all of the things in life, because we are in the world but not of it. We are definitely in the world, and I see that makes such happier people than the ones who come in and say, okay, I'm going to learn how to do this because I got to get a handle on my life, and I'm going to make this happen, and I'm going to will it into form, and I'm going to learn how to master my manifestations. And you can do that, but that's not the end-all be-all. The end-all be-all is to live a life where you have that feeling in you all the time, where you truly awaken in the morning with joy and love in your heart. And you go through life filled with energy, and you see things that are just revealing more and more good and joy and happiness, and that every person is a blessing, no matter what. Every experience is a blessing. And if we can do that, there is no limit to what we can accomplish. Because the only thing that limits the limitless is us. Our thought of limitation is the only thing that can limit the limitless. And it can only limit it at the point of our awareness, at a higher truth. We're not limited, we're just playing a game, that there's limitation. We're like the 3-year-old who's at the psychological stage where they can close their eyes and go, you can't see me. And we do that to our good. We close our eyes to our good and we say, you're not here. And then because we are creating our experience, we experience our good not being here. So I just want us to remember, we're gonna go into more and more treatment work in the next 2 terms and practice it more and fine tune our treatment work. I just threw you to the wolves a couple of months ago, gave you a little cheat sheet and said, just go say it, just go do it. And still it works, but we're gonna fine tune it a lot more. But through all of that, the important thing is to know that if you are treating for someone and you can really see them as a being of light, a being of love, a being of joy, that is perfect, whole, and complete in every way, then you don't have to treat that they have the closing on Tuesday, or that they've got the money to pay their bills, or that their car starts, or anything like that. You just get an image of them and you get this heart connection, and there is a sense of oneness and fullness and home. And people heal. Circumstances heal. I taught a class a few years ago. Annie Ritz Molitz, Primary Lessons of Healing. And she was saying, and she was pre-Ernest, she was saying that you bring that person to your consciousness and love them, you forgive them, you tell them that they haven't done anything wrong, that they're pure, perfect love, and really what you're doing is just cleaning that up inside of your own head. And she said that once you have an awareness of that presence of the divine as that person, that's when the healing happens. And so it's not about a trick or a magic statement or anything like that. It's really about getting ourselves into that place of connectedness. And most of the people on the planet are so busy running around trying to get their house in order and stack up all of their goods so that they can be okay, that they're missing the point that their sense of okayness is primary, that they're not having their sense of okayness because of the goods that are stacked up, they're having their goods because of the sense of okayness. And if you can jump back to that cause, you can not only live a peaceful life where your body is healthy and your relationships are great because people just love to be around you, but you can actually be an amazing healing presence for other people in the whole world. Ophia.
I was talking about this with my roomie today. There's a turn we make on the way back to my house where you turn right, but then you immediately have to make kind of a left hook. And most people, we were following someone, cut through the lane instead of making a full turn. And I was saying how this is kind of an example where especially younger me might have done that kind of thing, you know, like, oh, it's just faster, just no one's coming, like, but realizing that, like, thinking that that's a shortcut, like, oh, I need, you know, but when really it's like, if I just always train myself to go that way, when I'm like half paying attention that time, and cars coming and I'm not thinking about it, I'm still over here. So that's the real shortcut, is to get to like the ultimate cause first, which is, you know,
So to train yourself to think the thoughts that you want to think, so that when you're not paying attention and life is a surprise, you default to what you want to think instead of what you don't want to think. Most people default to a reaction, and then their limbic brain is going crazy and their adrenals are going bananas and their heart is pumping and they've moved into fight or flight. So to be able to train yourself to stay at peace, to stay clear, to stay focused on what's important, which is the presence of spirit is right where I am. Everything is wonderful. That is the most important thought you can ever think. To train yourself to stay there is going to allow yourself to not get in an accident. Yes. Jane.
I think that with me the difficulty is I always like to be kind of in control of what happens. And I think that what I need to learn, which I've been working on, is how to receive with gratitude and,
That's lovely, Jane.
huh, what?
That is lovely.
Yeah, thank you.
That is lovely. I think that one of the things you do here is receive a lot in your life.
Hmm.
You have a lot of people that really like you and love you, and you get that by being here.
Yeah.
We all get that from being here. It's really important to get that. We don't want to go up on a mountaintop. There's 7.5 billion of us on the planet. If we wanted to go on a mountaintop, we could have picked our own planet, like the Mormons. We would have our own planet. We want to be together. We want to connect with each other because I can see myself more clearly when I look at you. And the way I see you is the way I see me. And so if I see you as anything other than this amazing, beautiful being of light and love and clarity and wholeness, then I've got work to do on me. I love the way people try to blame other people. There is no other. There's only us.
There's no limits.
There's no them. There's no them. So, housekeeping. If you are interested in taking practitioner classes, there is a meeting this Sunday at 12:30. We want to know who's interested and what your classes are so that we can see what you need to move into practitioner training. This is the last class of Science of Mind 102. So next Monday, John and I want to do a relationships workshop because it's fun. We have a good time doing a relationships workshop, and I think it helps people to have better relationships because we've got some things we've learned over 30 years about not sweating the small stuff and being kind. Try not to be too big of an ass to your partner, and you'll be amazed at how wonderful your life can be. A week after that, 2 weeks from today, John and I will be at the beach, so Sally Robbins is covering Monday night. She's going to do an evening with Joel Goldsmith. If you know Joel Goldsmith, you either love him or you don't, and Sally loves him, so she's going to talk about him and share that with you. And then 3 weeks from tonight, we're going to start our Science of Mind 103 and 104 class. You'll have new notebooks that will have both sections in them, and I'm going to start it with a treatment workshop. Because in Science of Mind 103 and 104, we're going to have more focus on technique and how the treatments are working, how we're doing it. Again, it's much more like a practitioner class where we can really fine-tune our thoughts and our words and our treatment process. So that's the next 3 weeks. You got it?
Yeah.
Is the relationship workshop just for partners?
No.
For
You have a relationship with yourself.
Mhm.
It's helpful if you're
Unique.
kind to yourself.
How are we gonna do the relationship, how are you gonna do that relationship?
John and I are gonna stand up here and we're gonna talk about relationships. We have a great relationships workshop that we've done.
Oh, okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
You know, you referenced it twice, I think maybe a Sunday and Monday last week, about your Native American teacher, saying focus on what's in front of you. If it's in front of you, it's yours to do, and do it until it's done.
Yeah,
And I've been,
that's it in a nutshell.
I've been really like repeating that to myself a lot this week, and always with the like ADHD diagnoses and stuff growing up, like that's been really, and the whole concept of like focus, like just staying. So it's been really, so thank you. It's been really helpful.
Focus on what's in front of you. If you see it, it's yours to do, and do it until it's done. Wallace Wattles in The Science of Getting Rich, or The Science of Being Great, I forget which one, he talks about every day just do things that you, Science of Being Great, that you can do in a great way. If you can't do it in a great way, don't do it. And if you do everything in a great way, you will be great. So what he's saying is pick and choose. Don't let yourself get all bled out energetically for this thing and this thing and this thing, and you're jumping around like a whatever. So, pardon me?
It's like a grasshopper.
Yeah, you're just bouncing off the walls. So pick what you're going to do and do it well. And a lot of people say that the book, The One Thing, by the guy who started Keller Williams, says just pick one thing. Just pick one thing and do it every day, just one thing. And because it doesn't really matter what you do, it matters how you do it. It matters what the consciousness is, what the thoughts are that you're doing. Doesn't matter if you meditate or you ride a bike or you start a business or you take care of children. Doesn't matter what you do, it matters how you do it. Because that's the cause that's going out into your world as your effect. So pick one thing, whatever it is, and then do it in a magnificent way. If you're gonna plant flowers or trim the rose bushes or whatever, do it really good and feel good about it. And then you're putting out into your world, not I'm screwed up and I'm never get on top of anything, but I do this well. It's only one thing, but I do it well. And that changes your whole attitude and the cause you're putting out. Do you have your hand up, Breezy?
Yes.
Okay.
On the quote thing you said that, I'm just missing the second one. The first one you said, focus on what's in front of you.
If you see it, it's yours to do.
Okay.
Especially if it bothers you. Oh my gosh, there was a coffee spill in the other building all Sunday. People were just walking over it. Well, Barbara, maybe it was yours to wipe up. Sophia.
And also focusing on doing it with love, that was, and
Well,
that,
absolutely,
that was also
do
from
it
the-
in a great way, which means with love and with joy in your heart. You know, you can't wash dishes here if you're not happy. You'll poison the food
Yeah.
energetically. So if you're not gonna be happy, get out of the kitchen. And if you're wanting to help and be happy, you're welcome.
Yeah.
So whatever it is you're going to do, that's part of the thing about accepting the things that come along with the demonstration. How you do your creative process or your treatment or whatever, if you do it with love and joy, it's going to demonstrate with love and joy. If you do it with anger or upset or worry or concern, it's going to demonstrate with anger, upset, worry, and concern, because that's part of what you're putting out there. So it's very important to be mindful while you're doing your treatment work of going into that space of joy and ease and connection and support, and to know that, you know, for me, it's I know I'm home. That's where I'm home at a soul level, is in that space. And everything is there. And whatever I could possibly desire is already there, so there's no struggle or anxiety or upset going on. And that's where I start. That's not where I want to finish, although finishing there is good too, but that's where I start, because then as I move into the treatment, the language of it, I'm bringing all of that energy with me into my creation. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Good.
So, basically, it's, you need to feel good about what you're doing, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. Anytime I've done something and felt bad about it,
yeah.
it's never worked out, or it hasn't worked out well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In my years when I would work up anger to use it to motivate myself, there are times in my life when before I ever cleaned the house, I would get mad about something. And then I would ride that anger through the cleaning process, but it took a big toll on me, physically and emotionally. And then I realized I don't have to clean at all. I can hire someone who will go through my house singing and doing spiritual mind treatments and spreading all of that wonderful stardust around, and then I can have the effect of that. But in order to shift that, I had to shift myself. And now when I do something, I want to do it. I like doing it. I appreciate that I'm doing it. I give myself pats on the back, tell myself how great I'm doing, how wonderful this is. And then what I'm bringing into form carries all of that with it. Sophia.
I was specifically cleaning my kitchen and got up to the top of the shelves and saw they had never been cleaned since years before you moved in, kind of thing. And I'd been having a good time seeing how my kitchen was getting clean and all that, and then I saw that and I started feeling this like, oh, what the fuck, you know, I gotta do that, you know. But then I immediately thought back to like, these poor shelves haven't been cleaned. I'm gonna be so loving to them and clean this off.
Them.
And it felt so much better, and the room feels better now. I mean, they can't even see, but like, I could feel it now.
There used to be a commercial on TV for a carpet cleaner. And it was a dad and a toddler, and the toddler kept making all these messes, and the dad come around with a little Hoover carpet cleaner, whatever it was, and the tagline was, "Life's dirty, clean it up." So don't freak out about the things that happen. Allow yourself just to take that and rise up into great joy. And then do your work with joy, whatever it is. And you'll be better physically. Remember, we talked about all of the things that happen to you physically when you're constricted and you're angry. And when you're angry or upset, or you feel like someone's done something to you, your adrenals shoot out all of this stuff into your body, and it creates arthritis and blood problems and poop problems and all kinds of stuff. And you don't want to do that. You want to be easy and flowing and open in life. They say that you have more nerve endings in your belly than you do in your brain. Isn't that amazing? It's amazing. And so when they say, "I got a gut feeling," you really did. You got a gut feeling. So bring out that energy of love and happiness and joy in your treatment work. It's not a to-do list that, okay, recognition, blah, 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 identification, blah, 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 affirmation, blah, 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 Thanksgiving, blah, 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 release, blah, blah, okay, I'm done, check that one off. It's not like that. You will have more time in your life if you take the time to create your life than if you run through life reacting to everything. And if you don't do it well, if you screw something up, remember, you've always got a second thought. You have a second time around. In the eternal now, it's a constant redo. So just redo it. Fix it. Make it the way you want it. If you're flipping channels and you miss one and you go over the channel, you know, you're going down the TV guide thing and you thought you clicked it, and you got, what in the world is that? It's not the end of the world. You're not stuck with that channel for the rest of your life. You're going to flip the channel. Boy, Sirius XM radio, there's so many channels. If you miss one, just go back to the one you want. There's channels inside of your head, channels in your heart, channels in your gut. And if you can learn to hang out with that connection of oneness of the divine, you can do anything. I think one of the things that it does for me the most is makes me feel not alone. Because sometimes one of the games that we play is, oh, I'm all alone, I've got to do all of this, I've got to make a healing now for this person. As if everything I've done today isn't enough, now I got to heal this person. Oh my gosh, how am I going to do that? And we get into this misunderstanding of the individualized us, the verb us, of spiriting as us, instead of the noun that is separate from the divine. And so when we get into the noun, we can feel separation, we can feel pressure, we can feel like I've got to use my willpower now, I've got to force this into form. Oh my gosh, I fell off the spiritual wagon and now I've set things in motion that, oh my gosh, well, don't do that, that's exhausting. Get into that sense of connectedness, know that somehow there is that which moves through you that is infinite. Infinite energy, infinite opportunity, infinite love, infinite light, infinite life, infinite prosperity, infinite joy. That there is that which moves through you. You don't have to go get it. You don't have to find it. You don't have to make it happen. It is what you are. That's the first, I think the first chapter 1 in the textbook is man's relationship with the spiritual universe. That is what we are. We're not separate from God. We don't have the God up on the cloud that's got its own agenda. We have a verb. We are Godding. We are spiriting as us. We are individualized expressions of the divine. We're not an individualization. We're not a thing at all. There is no thing. This is all smoke and mirrors. Okay.
You always have a little something to say. What's interesting with me, what gets in my way is judgment.
Exactly.
Yeah, and who am I to judge? I mean, if I'm playing the roles, you know, if I start judging what I'm doing, you know, I just play very badly.
And you usually play very well.
Yeah, so I decided, no more judgment, so
So have you found yourselves judging yourself doing your treatment work? That was a great treatment, that was a terrible treatment. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that. I wonder what they think about me. Oh goodness, I forgot to do my treatment work today. Yes. David Mark.
Judgment is very closely related to gratitude. It's negative gratitude.
And it brings in that which you're grateful for in a negative way. It's like fear and faith are the exact same thing. It's just fear is faith in having what you don't want to have happen. But it's faith. And gratitude and judgment are the same thing. So if you're going to be negatively grateful, you might as well flip it around with a second thought to being positively grateful. And to start looking at your life and to see what's working. My goodness, we're all up on both feet, you know? I'm working on Bill. He's gonna be up on both feet. We're all up on both feet. We all have all of our limbs. We're all breathing. You know, most of us drove here. We have a home to go to. We have so much to be grateful for. And when we start being grateful for things like that, we bring them into our experience. But in your spiritual mind treatment, I want you to start practicing getting into that state of connectedness. Who has had that happen? Debbie, what did it feel like?
Yummy.
Yummy. Whether it be the bar
Warm and fuzzy and a part of community.
Well, warm and fuzzy and part of community. Amanda.
It's awesome.
It is. Ophia.
Just flow, everything.
Yeah, everything. Who else had their hands up? For me, it's like that spot that I didn't know was empty got full. And it is my intention to have that space full all the time. Because I don't want to go around with an empty spot. I want to go around filled full to overflowing on everybody and everything around me. I'm a fountain of spirit, shooting all around me like a water sprinkler. We've all got. So I want you to do that. I know that we've done treatment work in this class. We've done a lot of treatment work, but I want us to start fine-tuning it. I want us to start going deeper. I want us to start really being able to be in that space. Have you gone to see practitioners? Do you notice that they are in a space when they do their treatment? They have learned how to be in that space, and it's a different space than most of the people doing treatments in this class. Not that there's anything wrong with what's happening in the class, but after years and years and years of practice, you more easily go into that deep space and connect and open up and are just so sure, well, of course everything's fine. Of course everything's right, because God is right here, Spirit is right here, right now. And that is all that there is. And you get that experience, and that manifests in form. Stephen.
So I had a treatment from Sally, me and somebody else, and so I recorded the treatment portion, and I went back and listened to it all the time, really. And it's really funny because she mentions stuff that I never said in the conversation prior to the treatment, but she's brought it up in the treatment, and it's like, holy smokes, that's so true.
Right, so it was,
Like, she's
that's,
tuned in.
that's intuition.
Yeah.
If you get your head out of the way, your intuition can come forward. All these nerve endings in the belly. So what did you learn over the last 4 months?
I was trying to find it, but I can't, where I have thought this way for a very long time. And he says in here that what science of mind does is it explains it, and it puts it in a very logical progression so that we can believe it and then really make it happen. And that was just beautiful. I was like, that's exactly what's happening. You know, because it's just, all of it is just so beautiful, that the way he says things. And it really is just clicking so much more than it ever has before. And I'm like, oh, yes, and it's so much easier for me to feel that. And in those treatments, either for myself or for anyone else, when I can really get to that yummy space that I talked about where I just feel so good. It's that joyous feeling of, oh, yeah, let's just be like this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And sometimes I treat my feelings. If I'm not in that space, I'll treat my feelings. I'll treat my clarity, I'll treat my consciousness, I'll treat my awareness, I'll treat my love, I'll treat my joy, because you can treat anything. And that's more important to me than treating that this happens or that happens or this shows up. It's more important for me to treat my consciousness and my energy in that. You can treat anything. Ophia.
The past 4 months have been really, really awesome. I have in the past, same kind of thing. I've in the past, like, so much has told me that, like, no, like, what other teachings or things that were tried, I just knew wasn't right. I tried to think it all out for myself, finding different stuff, and ended up in mental wards, and had a lot of it figured out, but hadn't quite, had the help, to do it on myself, and realizing that it's been like both, like letting go, like the grace thing, but then also like in a counterintuitive control way than I was doing it before, like realizing, oh, I just had this flipped, like, and so it's been both like grace and like confidence, and the intuition, like, oh no, I was right, I just hadn't quite, like, okay, cool, I wasn't.
Good.
So,
I've often thought that people who are locked up just have a little more psychic awareness, a little more awareness, and they don't have a way to they don't have a way to incorporate that into modern day life because we don't support that.
yeah.
As a kid, I always felt like there was a part of me that was not involved in the family environment, in the school environment, in the way that I looked, in the way that people treated me. I always felt like there was a part of me that was not that. And then Ernest comes along and says that there's a spiritual person, man, that, and I like to see it as just kind of wrapping itself around us, that is always perfect, always whole, and always complete. And as a practitioner, as a person doing treatment work for someone, it's your job to see that spiritual perfection regardless of what the story is, because people come to you and boy, they have worked on that story for decades. They have got it down, they've got the pauses, they've got the jabs, they've got their story down, and regardless of the story or regardless of the conditions, it's our job to see that. And when we can see it without even doing treatment work for people, then we're dancing with this idea of enlightenment, that we just go through the world and see the perfect unfoldment of spirit as every person, as the mail in the mailbox, as the phone, as everything in our life. Then we're in a realm that the mystics talk about. And that's where we're going. We are all mystics in the making. And it's about letting go of our attachment to physical form and thought, even though we say change your thinking, change your life, and moving into this greater awareness of the presence of the divine and beingness. And in that state of beingness, I think we're more open to the creative process. And it's good at times to direct it and to focus it, but to do it with that sense of connectedness and love and joy is really where it's at. What else have you learned?
It's easier to do treatments when you do treatments.
It is. It is. The way to learn how to treat is to treat often. And then you start to get, wow, I did this thing and something happened. I've said that I believe that there's a connection, but wow, it really happened. And so then you start to develop that sense of faith and that expectancy and that knowing. Good for you. Sophia.
That also reminds me of it paired perfectly timing-wise with the beginning of taking classes here and stuff, that I had read this thing where, a study where, an experiment where a pottery teacher had, broken the class into 2 groups and said, you are assigned by the end of the semester to make the most, you were assigned to make the best. And I was immediately taken aback when I read it, that it was not what I expected, and that it was the ones who did the most who got the best. And that really hit me, you know, because I always wanted to, perfectionism, and realizing that you don't get that without doing a whole bunch of
Right,
it. And so
right.
this has been really good to, like, for me to just get through it and realize it's gonna make it better.
Good.
So.
Good, good, good. Who has treatment successes? Debbie.
There's been quite a few of them this week, but I think the one that really stands out, so I had this pet sitting job for Saturday, and she calls me on, I don't know, Friday, and she says, oh, my daughter is, I thought she was better, but she's got a raging fever, and so we're not gonna be able to leave. And I was like, oh, well, that's okay, that's not a problem. And she's like, well, send me your address and I'll pay you anyway. And I was like, thank you. Why not?
I'm open to receive. Yay.
Singing is a big part.
It was very good.
Who else? Ophia.
I will keep it to one. I also had a lot of really good ones. But my physical therapist of mine was just sharing a story. We were talking about school, and he had said he wanted
Did
to
you
get.
treat for him?
No, well, I made a perfect attendance award for him because he had missed his perfect attendance award when he was in elementary school. He was talking about this.
Okay, I want treatment success stories.
And I had just said, may you always be in alignment with perfect timing. And I realized with doing that, my timing has gotten so much better this week. Like, today structured perfectly, I got everything I wanted to be done, and I just thought it was not a super intentional treatment, but I realized that it worked for me with that, and I
Good.
just thought that was really cool. So.
Good, you set the intention that someone else had perfect timing and you realized you had perfect timing. Who else? What are your treatment successes? You guys are being so treated up.
Yes.
Yes, you are. You've got somebody treating for you every day, every day, every day, every day, and you are treating for yourselves every day. Are you including yourself in this treatment?
Yes.
Good, because we don't want anyone who's going, oh, I'm just gonna treat for someone else and not for me. That's, you know, trying to put the oxygen masks on everybody else in the plane as you collapse. Who's got demonstrations?
So yeah, in my treatment for abundance, my chiropractor came up and said, oh, my cleaning lady of 8 years has left me, and so let's barter. And I said, yeah, let's do that.
Abundance of all kinds.
Yeah. All kinds, yeah. And there were like 4 of them this week, so that was just, it's been a really nice week.
That's awesome.
Good,
Yeah.
good, good, good. Anybody else?
I don't have anything specific, but things are just good,
Yeah.
you know, easy and
That is my intention. When I call people for being on my treatment list for the coming week and they say, you just do whatever you want, everything in my life is great. So I don't have any special needs or desires or focuses, just everything is great. I would like to see everybody in this center get to where they're saying, my life is just great. David, Mark. I knew you had.
On that line, and with respect to this chapter on law of attraction, and what I sort of have felt this says probably better, it says what we demonstrate today, tomorrow, and the next day is not as important as a tendency our thought is taking.
Exactly.
And, you know, I've just been, you know, and experiencing an ongoing freedom and ease and comfort and joy in life. And since moving to Asheville, it's getting better the more I am becoming part of Asheville.
Yay. Yay. I've often used that part of this chapter when I've gone, why haven't we done this yet? Why aren't we this big? And Why hasn't this been demonstrated? And why am I feeling like I'm back to square one, starting all over again, doing this again? No, 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 no. My life is better. My life is better. My life is better. My life is better. And as long as I'm moving in that direction, what do I care about the outer trappings? I want the outer trappings to have the feeling. I just go for the feeling right now. You don't have to be sidetracked by stuff to get to the feeling. Get to the feeling and you'll have plenty of stuff. And it may surprise you if you're not busy trying to shove your stuff into the mold of your neuroses. Well, it's gotta look like this, it's gotta happen like this. No, 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 you just be there. Let it happen. Watch what happens. Anything else?
I have trouble, treating, for people, even though I've done pretty well sometimes, but the thing is that, I get tripped up by trying to remember the steps. Yeah.
Don't you have that paper?
Well, you know, that's what I was thinking, if I get a partner this time, tonight, and I'm gonna ask to just review the steps.
Great, great. In your next notebooks, you're gonna have pages and pages of steps and examples and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, cause I just sputter around like a fool.
It's
but-
okay, no, you're not a fool. It's okay to write down the steps. It's okay to write down what you're treating for, so you don't forget.
Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah, okay, that sounds good.
Good, good. Anything else? Love you guys. Let's take a break, get your treatment partners, and create your amazing life. So what have you learned from all of the treatment work you've done?
It worked.
That it works?
Yeah.
It gets better and better.
Gets better and better.
Thinking of a theme or themes help through each step.
Themes through the steps help. Good.
The 5 steps don't seem to be necessary.
Well, don't tell John that. He wrote it.
Is that even more steps?
Stephen.
That if you're in the right place, it just comes out naturally.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't have to sound like anybody. And truth be known, your steps don't have to look like other people's steps. It's just to get you to that place of knowing. Do you feel more like you can trust yourself to just do it now?
Yes.
Good, that's the value of practice. Jane,
What?
you raised your hand.
I was just scratching.
Oh. What? Is there anything else you want to say? We're going on a couple of weeks break. And then we'll be back, and there may be other people in the room, so be nice.
Break them in slowly, because we're gonna be doing spiritual mind treatment for the first time.
Right, right.
We're all there
They'll have
once.
it in their notebook. Oh. What, Ophia?
I said hi Bulgaria. And
Hi, Bulgaria.
It's south of Romania, east of Moldova, and west of Serbia and Hungary, and Greece is south of it.
So shout out to Bulgaria, China, and India, our 3 biggest countries other than the United States in the month of January 2019. We're really glad that you are taking class with us.
Yay!
And to those of you watching online, if you would like to donate to this, you can go to the little blue P in the upper right corner of your YouTube page. Click it and it'll take you to our PayPal account, and you can support this amazing work that we are doing in changing the world by providing ideas of truth to everyone on the planet. And now those of you here, take out what you're going to give. And I stand in gratitude for the teachings of Science of Mind, for this Center for Spiritual Living Asheville, for all who call themselves students, and all who walk this path of truth. I'm grateful for the opportunities that I have had in my life to create an amazing life, and for all of the opportunities that everyone here and everyone within the sound of my voice have to be able to create heaven on earth, prosperity, abundance, health, and wholeness of every kind, and lives that continue to get better and better and better. And so I know that we come together this night in our generosity to make this Center for Spiritual Living Asheville all that it was ever meant to be. It is a place of peace, a beacon of light, a tower of strength, and a fountain of wisdom that touches the lives of all who call it home. And so it is.
I'll be right there. I'm just waiting for signatures.
And I know that everything in these baskets is blessed. Because every time we give, that which we give is the blessing. And we are the blessed. I know that that energy of spirit as us that goes with our gift touches the center and the lives of everyone who are connected with it. I know that that energy goes on out to surround this planet and remind each and every being on this planet that they are a powerful, creative, spiritual being, and that by focusing on what they want, they can create that anything is possible and all is well. And so with great gratitude for all of these gifts, for all that this center is, and for all of the hearts and hands that we get to touch and share, I simply release this treatment into all that God is, knowing that God is all, as together we say, and so it is. Thank you, everybody. I love you.